the body was cut into 4 pieces and distributed amongst the crowd.
Put my torso down.
What's up, guys? It's Kat. Welcome back to the Cat Archive. I haven't been here in a month. I know that. School's annoying. Life is exceptionally hard, but you know what? At least we're still cute. You ever seen Game of Thrones? I love Game of Thrones. I'm in the middle of like my 8th rewatch of this show. I don't care. I know what's gonna happen, but that doesn't make the plot twists any more plot twistful. I just finished episode today. We were learning about Hodor's backstory and why he says Hodor all the time. Almost cried in the student center. Not even kidding. Anyone who knows Game of Thrones, or at least has heard of it, knows who Jon Snow is. Now, Jon Snow, pretty boy Jon Snow. I love him. And I love Kit Harington. And I love that Mr. Harrington met his wife, Rose Leslie, old girl who plays Ygritte, on the set of the show, and they got married and they have kids. I absolutely love that. And honestly, when I first watched Game of Thrones and I was like 12, I thought that I was seeing everybody for the first time. And actually, I wasn't. Because Mr. Kit Harington, okay, loves him a good period piece. And it doesn't even matter what the era is. And honestly, top 3 period pieces of Mr. Harrington, Game of Thrones, obviously, Pompeii. Girl, I saw that movie for the first time when it came out when I was 11 years old. Changed my life. And not only because of him, the slave, the African slave that was in like the cells with him, that became friends with when he was in Pompeii. Oh my god, that man in The Mummy Returns. If that man ever approached me talking about some, we're a part of the Magi, an ancient protective order. You have to come with us or we're gonna kill your husband. Fuck that nigga. And the other one is the show on HBO called Gunpowder. Now, Gunpowder, great show. It's like, I think it's 3 episodes. It's a very cute little mini-series. So Gunpowder follows the Gunpowder Plot of 1605. There was a literal assassination attempt on King James I of England and VI of Scotland. So let's start off by talking about why James was on the throne in the first place, because who was his predecessor? Lizzie I. And as you can see, since he's James I of England and then VI of Scotland, that nigga ain't English. That nigga ain't tutored. So in 1603, Queen Lizzie I dies childless, okay? My virgin queen. And because she was the youngest surviving child of Henry VIII, there was nobody else in the Tudor line to continue on this dynasty. Margaret Beaufort was somewhere screaming her head off, I already know. So they were looking around the UK and being like, who the fuck is gonna rule this fuck ass country? Good Lord have mercy. And so they looked over to Scotland and was like, who we got over there? In walks James VI. Now, you may think, okay, well, England's over here and Scotland's over here. Where's the motherfucking connection? Let's go way back. Like, not 100 years, but like probably like 60 years. I don't know. Henry VII and Elizabeth of York are married, and they are the king and queen, and they're having their children. And as they get older, they're forming alliances with the other, surrounding kingdoms. They had a daughter named Margaret Tudor. Now, Margaret went over to Scotland to go and marry King James IV many years ago, right? And with her being a Tudor woman marrying into the Scottish royal family, obviously those 2 royal families are now connected by blood, thus making James the great-great-grandson of Henry VII. So he has Tudor blood. It's like not, right there in your face like Elizabeth, but like, it's there. And because she has that Tudor blood, right? And then her mama was also Mary, Queen of Scots, put that little nigga on the throne. There is no one else living alive that has the most blood to be on both thrones than this man. And so he was King James of England and Scotland. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. James was Protestant. This is true. Lizzie was Protestant. This is true. They looked at it as a lens of like, okay, you can also be good at ruling, but then also no religious upheaval. Because at this point, Elizabeth, yeah, she was Protestant. Yeah, did all the shit with like, her sister Mary. Too much, right? Too fucking much. And what they didn't need was a back and forth between like religions, because you already had Henry, who went from Catholic to being Protestant because he couldn't fuck somebody. Then you had his sadistic ass little son Edward acting fucking crazy and Protestant. Then you had Mary coming in once again acting crazy and Catholic. And you had Elizabeth come in trying to fix all that shit. And no, you know, it was just a lot of drama, a lot of mess, and they were like, we need somebody who's Protestant so this can keep going forward, we can be a good, you know, like, non-Civil War religious ass country, and period. But here's the other side. With James coming in, it being a kind of peaceful transition, the Catholic nobles and the Catholic people, they were just like, all right, hopefully he'll, you know, lessen up, because he ain't even from here, you know what I mean? So he don't even know. He might see how we're being treated, the Catholics, and be like, this is crazy, we're gonna fix this. James came in and turned up the motherfucking heat, okay? And so there were 6 guys, 6 nobles who felt personally disrespected, discriminated against, excluded from things within the royal house because they were Catholic, you know what I mean? So they banded together and they were like, we gotta get this nigga right now. Robert Catesby, Thomas Percy, Guido Guy Fawkes. You just perk up? No? Oh. Okay, sorry, never mind. Thomas Winter, Sir Everard Digby, and Thomas Tresham. Now these guys, like I said, they all felt personally betrayed by the ever-increasing restrictions on Catholic people, Catholic nobles, constant disrespect, and they just weren't having it. So their goal in killing him was to eliminate and eradicate all of the unnecessary restrictions put on Catholic people at this time. And of course you'd be like, alright, so if they take him out, who are they going to put in? They want another female monarch. Specifically, James's young daughter, Princess Elizabeth, because she was, you know, extremely young, and they were hoping that her advisors, which would hopefully be them, could raise her Catholic, and she would be like a better version of Mary, which is like kind of crazy and a little predatory, you know what I'm saying it out loud? Ugh. So, honestly, it's not even a bad plan. Like, oh my god. Like, no shade. I definitely see how they came together, brainstormed this, thought this up, and was like, yeah, this could absolutely work. Because low-key, if they weren't, like, ratted out, that shit could have definitely fucking worked. There were expected to be a lot of leaders there in the government, as well as the king himself. And so since you have all those people that you don't fuck with clustered together, why not kill 18 birds with 2 stones, you know? You know, we could all pull a little Cersei Lannister, blow up the Sept of Baelor and shit like that. Like, I get it. It makes sense. Like, saying it, understanding it, and being like, yeah. Like, that, I think it would have worked if they weren't found out. So here we have William Parker, Lord Monteagle. Now, he was very close with the king, right? And he was one of the people that was set to attend this whole opening of Parliament type shit, right? So he definitely would have been a casualty. He received an anonymous tip telling him not to go to the Parliament opening on November 5th, 1605. And honestly, if I got an anonymous letter, I don't know who said it, I don't know why they sent it, all I know is it's in my possession and I'm being told to go somewhere. I'm not going. And, you know, in his position, if he were to receive that letter and he just not go himself and not tell nobody, it's gonna look real suspicious off rip. Couple that with the possible, like, you know, assassination working. Oh yeah, you're getting side-eye, sir. So the letter stated that a terrible blow is going to come to pass at the opening of Parliament. Now, he obviously read this and was like, terrible blow? The fuck? He immediately alerted the authorities. He immediately told the king, was like, yo, bro, I got this fucking letter. It's something I have to go to Parliament opening day. Like, I don't know what this is. On the night of which everything was supposed to happen, everything went through as planned. The kings, all of the leaders, they all pulled up and did what they were supposed to do. But the issue then was, everyone was looking around being like, oh yeah, this is gonna work. Oh yeah, they don't even know. Whole time, there is a whole militia on the way to the parliamentary building alongside the king, but they're not going to go behind the king. They're not there to protect the king. They're going to go into the basement of the parliament building and see what's popping. And so when they get down there, who do they find? Guy Fawkes. Guarding all the gunpowder. These 5 gentlemen that I mentioned earlier just took who knows how many barrels of gunpowder. I genuinely got curious because I really don't know. I looked it up. It was 35 barrels of gunpowder. Now, I don't know how big these barrels are because barrels always look like hella fucking big in period pieces, so I'm big ass motherfucking barrels. So that is a lot of gunpowder though. Like, Still, for real, it is. They put all these barrels of gunpowder underneath the building, and Guy Fawkes's job was to sit there and guard the barrels, and when he got, I'm assuming, some kind of like signal that only he could hear or he could understand, he would light the gunpowder and everything would explode. Like I said, it sounds like it would work. But unfortunately, the anonymous tip got out, folks were alerted, the military came down, saw that nigga sitting in the corner with him, a gun, a sword, and some matches, I'm gonna suppose, talking about some so the weather. And it was up. It was completely fucking up. He was immediately brought back to the Tower of London and was tortured for information because obviously, with a plot like this that requires as much heavy lifting and planning and organization as this, you can't be the only guy involved in this. And for a certain amount of time, he did, you know, uphold this facade that it was only him, it was just him, he's ready to die. Die for Catholicism, hell yeah. But then, girl, the English, let me tell you something right now. The English, when it came to torturing people, I know there are a lot of different inventions for torture, which is very scary. And I know that torture in certain places of the world is a lot harsher than others. You know, you go out east to like the Everglades ass area and terrains, and they will fill you up, force feed you cream and sugar and honey and all this sweet stuff to make you, like, you know, shit on yourself or throw up on yourself, right? And then they'll stab you a couple times or whatever, you know what I mean? Make you all weak and shit, bleeding out, shit like that. Leave you open wounds, right? Because they won't dress the rooms. And then they'll tie you to a boat, okay? Tie you to a boat. Cover you again with more honey, more sweet stuff to make the bugs love you, right? And then send you down your merry way down a fucking swamp or some shit like that, you know what I mean? And so you're looking around like, damn, I just got stabbed 8 times and, like, you know, force-fed honey, and I got a shit, like, what am I doing here? Then as you float down, slowly down that motherfucking river, the bugs come, the flies and shit like that. Then the amphibians come. God, then the arachnids come. And at this point, you're getting eaten alive slowly because these are small animals. But as you get eaten alive, like I said, you got stabbed 20 times and they didn't dress a wound. So now you got open wounds. And you're actively rotting and decaying and going sour in the elements. Who else is joining the party? Maggots. So now you got maggots eating on you, you got flies eating on you, you got bugs, you got arachnids, you got amphibians, and then you get the big boys. Big boys, you know, these aquatic ass creatures. And you're just literally being eaten to death. And then at the same time, while also being exposed to the elements in every way, shape, and form, you shitting on yourself? You pissing on yourself? Like, and also throwing up. Cause like, imagine you chilling, well, not really chilling cause you get eaten alive, but like you chilling in the boat. And then you look down and you see like a maggot crawl up your nipple. I'm throwing up. But then I'm throwing up all this heavy ass dairy. Where? All over me. And then on top of that, it's hot. It's hot. It's hot. Like you shitting on yourself. You pissing on yourself. Throwing up on yourself. You got bugs eating your ass. And it's hot. And not only is it hot, it's humid, you getting sunburned, you stink. Too much. But the English have very interesting methods of torture as well. My personal favorite in the Tower of London is the stretcher. I feel like I would love to be on a stretcher for about, like, you know, 2-3 minutes, crack my back and get me off. So I'm guessing they put him on the rack, you know, took some fingernails, took some toenails, you know, type shit, took a finger maybe, like. But at a certain point in time, the torture got too much, and he was like, fuck all this. It was not only me, it was this nigga, that nigga, this nigga, that nigga, and then they over there in the corner that's hiding. Too much. Too much. Like, no, do not put me through no torture. Like, bro, you could just show me the rack, and I'd be like, I'll tell you everything you want to know. You can kill me afterwards, but do not put me on that rack. So 7 of them got caught, right? 4 of them were of the initial 6, okay? But hold on. Thomas Winter, right? Part of the original 6. They went and got his brother. Got him too. Put him in the fold, all right? Then you have the 2 Wright brothers, not those. Not those. John and Christopher, they were also involved some way, somehow, right? They got these guys. They captured them, tortured them, because why the fuck not, and then executed them by beheading in public, right? Ooh, bitch. But Robert Catesby and Guy Fawkes, First of all, fun fact: Guy Fawkes, right? Guy Fawkes in this little story looked like this. All right, this is the homeboy. This is the guy that was like, leave us the fuck alone. Yes, we're Catholic, but we ain't doing shit to you, bro. Like, leave me alone, bro. This guy also inspired this mask, aka the Guy Fawkes mask, because of his facial hair and, you know, him being sneaky. But Robert Catesby, right? When they pulled up on him and was like, all right, we know that you were involved in the plot to kill the king. We know it didn't work out. Just come with us. We're gonna talk to you. Maybe once again, take a couple fingernails, but just come with us. No struggle. Don't resist. It's gonna be fine. No, that's not how Jon Snow goes. He definitely resisted and fought till his dying breath. Honestly, if I was in his position and I was a man during this time and I got caught up doing some fuck shit and they're talking about, come back to the Tower of London with us, we're just gonna talk to you. I'm not going. No. No, I'm not going. I'm either gonna fight my way out. If I die, I die, just like Robert did, or I'm gonna kill myself. You're not putting me on the fucking rack. You're not taking my fingernails, alright? You're not doing that. You're not doing any of that mutilation to me. No. Guy Fawkes, however, did not have the same opportunity to fight his way out and not get put on that rack like Robert did. Because, like I said, he was the one that was caught down there with his pants down. So they been had him, and then they got him to crack and break and tell everybody who was involved, where they at, where they live, who their family is, all that fun stuff, right? So he wasn't getting out anyway. So his method of execution, given by King James, was hanging, drawing, and quartering. Bitch, hold on. So hanging, drawing, and quartering is often utilized in period pieces to explain a very horrible torture and way to die, because it is a torturous way to die, low-key. So drawing, first of all, I think is the best out of the three because essentially what it is you're being dragged, your hands are tied to a cart and you're just dragged to a cart all throughout London, all throughout the city. People yell at you, traitor, you a bitch, you ugly, you chopped, all that stuff like that. They throw shit at you like it's crazy. So that's the beginning. That's the beginning of your execution, right? You're dragged there. It's supposed to be like an embarrassing situation, you know, like lessen your pride, make you feel like I'm not worth nothing. They throwing lettuce at my head. Don't throw that shit. Like, and that's never made sense. Like, if the poor people, if the peasants of, like, you know, the cities in which period pieces like talk about this and they show this, especially in shows, if they really did that, throwing lettuce, throwing tomato, throwing meat, throwing food, ain't y'all starving? Are you not a starving populace? Why are you throwing the food? Lettuce you just bought, freshly good, brand new, could make some fire-ass cabbage with it. Like, you want to sit here, well, lettuce and cabbage are the same thing. Still, you want to sit here and throw it at a nigga? Like, are you going to go and get it back? No, there's dirt all over it now. Like, oh. But you know what? They probably did go and get it and didn't wash it properly. That's why the plague happened. You know what? I've been thinking too much. Next, we have the hanging. We obviously all know what hanging is, okay? Now, with the hanging, obviously, you're not gonna die from that. You know, this is a 3-step skincare routine, right? You're not gonna do all that, right? So the hanging puts it right there in the middle. Oh, bitch. Quartering. One can make an assumption about what quartering is, considering, you know, quarter bow. But what I honestly don't get, before I get into this, what I honestly don't get is, like, there's more than 3 things involved in a hanging, drawing, and quartering. You know what I mean? There's two extra steps, 2 optional steps in the skincare routine. And, you know, I say they're optional just because they're not in the name, but they're not optional. They were always, you know, done eventually. But after you are done being dragged through the city to your execution point, right? And, you know, you're hung by your neck, you can't breathe for a hot second, finna pass out, then you're dropped back down onto the platform, right? Probably broken an ankle or some shit like that at this point. They then strap you to a table and they disembowel you. Now, I personally never understood this because what is the point? Because after disembowelment, you're not going to be alive. But I guess it's, you know, hanging, drawing, and quartering, you would only get that punishment if you did some, like, heinous ass shit, you know? But then heinous ass shit is, like, relative based on who's giving the sentence, you know? So, yes, they're disemboweled while they're still conscious. They don't knock you out. If you were knocked out from the hanging, they wake up. Come on. We got 2 more things to do. So then you were disemboweled. Your organs were taken out of you. Now, if by some Jesus circumstance you were still alive, you know, they would be presented out in front of you, be looking at it like, damn, my small intestine, my kidney, damn. And then they would burn the parts in front of you, which when I first read about that, I was like, that's so crazy, because it's like, what the fuck would that even do? You can't even feel it. Yes, the fuck you can. What? Then, at this point, obviously they'd be dead, but no. We're not done. They would then proceed to cut your head off, because sure. Then the body was cut into 4 pieces and distributed amongst the crowd.
Put my torso down.
If they weren't distributed amongst the crowd, they were like presented, hung up like a fucking wreath or some shit like that to serve as a kind of warning, you know, being like, this guy got all this shit done to him because he did this. So if you want to do some fuck shit like this, you will end up like him. I'm just trying to buy a piece of bread. So that was the punishment that was set upon Guy Fawkes to experience. Now, with being an English citizen, obviously you've been to one of these being done at one point in your life or another, right? So you've seen this happen to somebody, and you don't want that shit to happen to you, right? So what he decided to do was go along with the drawing. He was dragged to the square, you know, it is what it is. And with the hanging part, because he knows what comes after the hanging, he was like, fuck all this, fuck all that. You're not digging in my belly button for my organs. No ma'am. So he decided, before whoever was presenting him to be hung, drawn, and quartered, and all that shit like that was done talking, he decided to just jump off the platform himself, die on his own terms. And he broke his neck and he died. Honestly, best way to go out, considering the circumstances. Best way to go out. There's no better way, because you're not cutting me open and then burning my intestines in front of me and then giving my torso to some random ass 10-year-old and then putting that bitch on display. You're not doing that, bro. You're not doing that to me. You're not doing that to me. And honestly, I saw the vision. I did. These 6 guys, I saw y'all's vision, but y'all just fucked it up for everybody else. Because now, look at these 6 guys, right? These 6 guys that got executed, more or less, or killed, more or less, because of what they were trying to do to the Protestant king, because of what was going on to the Catholics. And also at this time, when I mean they made shit worse, they made shit worse, okay? Because you already had the majority Protestant population. Look at the Catholic population, like, ugh, you're fucking weird. Like, mass wasn't a thing. If you were caught doing mass, you were literally put in jail. Like, so now you have all these Protestant people who already have these unnecessary ass prejudices against the Catholic people, being like, yeah, see, that's one of your own. You all are like that. All y'all are crazy. All y'all are homicidal. Fuck all y'all. And laws were passed. Harsher laws against Catholics. Them niggas couldn't shit, poop. That's the same fucking thing. Them niggas couldn't shit, couldn't piss, couldn't breathe, couldn't eat, couldn't buy new silk for their clothes without somebody being like, ugh, Catholicism. And then on top of that, law, parliament, no Catholics. No Catholics. They didn't want any Catholics in power. Because they were just like, okay, we already had a Catholic queen. She was bad shit. Now here y'all come. We can't trust you at all. We have to keep y'all in check. And it's just like, if you just left them alone and let them do mass, like, I think it would be okay. Like, if anything, if I was King James, and maybe this is just me being born in 03, but if I was King James and somebody made an attempt on my life because of how I was unjustly prosecuting them off religion, I would take a step back and be like, maybe I need to chill. Almost got my hair blown off. But the propaganda, like the political propaganda that came out after this, exploited the fuck at the plot, probably embellished the shit out of it as well, and made everybody look at Catholics like, ugh, I don't fucking trust you, nigga. Like, I don't know what you got up in your head. You could be crazy like them. Like, shit. You're gonna blow me up? So it really just made life worse for the Catholics of England. But as a result of this, like, the night that this was supposed to happen, right? The opening of Parliament literally became a fucking national holiday called Bonfire Night, where they would just they would get a bunch of gunpowder, light that bitch up in the form of some kind of, I don't even know, symbolistic figure or whatever, and let it burn all night. As a way to be like, fuck that nigga. He wanted to use gunpowder to kill our king, but our king survived. Because he's what? Our king. And so it was like a celebration of loyalty and, you know, happiness. Because the king didn't get blown the fuck up to smithereens, you know? He didn't get the Sept Baelor treatment. But bitch, hold on. Guy Fawkes Night or Bonfire Night. It was called Guy Fawkes Night or Bonfire Night. I guess it was like symbolistic of burning him, blowing him up, and not the king. Listen, I'm from Michigan. This is still a celebrated holiday November 5th. Next month. No, not next week, in 2 weeks. It's still a celebrated holiday. And it's celebrated with bonfires and fireworks and celebrations. And folks walk the streets wearing Guy Fawkes masks. Which, honestly, if I was King Charles, which, hold on. King Charles, right? King Charles went to Italy, went to the Vatican to go and pray with the Pope. When was the last time that was done, you may ask? 1534. Who was ruling in 1534? Henry VIII. Niggas ain't been back there to pray. To Rome. To pray with that man? In over 400 years. Well, no. Just under 400 years. Like, this is big to me. Cause it's like, what the fuck? And then you have King Charles doing all that. And then you got Prince Andrew relinquishing his royal titles. What's going on? What's going on? Keeping Up with the Windsors. I want to watch. But yeah, if I was King Charles, I wouldn't want to celebrate this. I don't know. Like I said, I understand like what it probably symbolizes, but we in mid-2025. Why are we still doing this? But yeah, that's some shit, you know? The kings of England really go through a lot. And a lot of the times it is from their own actions, and it can be obviously avoided. But once again, with their own actions, it's just not. It's just fucking not. Like, but that is all I have for you today. Something short and sweet, you know? Something short and sweet, you know, just something quick. Cause I gotta get back on this, cause this is like really sad. I'm gone for a month. But if you like what you saw today and what you learned today, come hang out with me again. Come watch my new stuff. Come watch my old stuff. Like, come hang out. Like, you know, it's always fun over here. There's no better way to learn anything, really. I know just history. Anything, really. If not through humor. Because if you learn through humor, you remember. Like, come on, bro. Come on. But I hope all of you have a great day. Follow me on my other socials on Instagram and TikTok at Kat Carter. It's all the same. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.